Hey.
First, I have to say, look at that lighting and look at that mic. So you have evolved
Yes.
and you're
Yes.
good. So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you, Eugene.
Good to see you as
We
well.
don't
I'll
see
take my
Eugene, which
leave.
is
I know we're
awesome.
gonna.
Yeah,
You're
you can say
leaving.
Eugene.
Oh, I like them to focus on Laurel. I know I'm coming back in the next session. Yes.
Yeah, you're coming back the next session to help me run it, and then you'll be the final session. So if you want to
Okay, and I'm gonna be
pause and
listening
jump out,
in to Laurel, and I'm gonna pick up some good tips because I'm doing some things that are similar. So I'm excited to hear some of the details, Laurel. But I'll pop out, but I'll pop back on.
okay, cool.
All right.
So Laurel, you and I met a number of years ago. Well, a little over a year ago, I would say October of 2023, and it was through Synapse, an organization. And from that,
Yeah.
we were able to really start growing something special. I had no idea what you did and what you're doing. And so just kind of introduce yourself and start with that and talk a little bit about who you are.
Okay. I want to say quickly, yeah, we met on a Zoom and I was drawn to Convene Communities because of the Uniquely You program that you talked about a little bit. I have two teenagers and I thought, oh, wow, that's really great. And then we connected because you heard what I did through the 3-minute business share at the meeting, and in those first few minutes of getting to know each other, I had no idea I'd be able to build what I have built to talk about it today. So I just wanted to add that. Um, what do I do? I am a Christian end of life doula. Can also be known as a death doula. I use the phrases interchangeably. I sort of like the death doula phrase better. But death doulas are emerging in a time where death has been an off limits conversation. We don't talk about it. We don't see
Yeah.
it. You can have a loved one or a member of your community who you hear they're sick and maybe they stop coming to church because they're unable to. And then you hear they die. Maybe you didn't see them when they were sick. Maybe you didn't see them, you know, after they died, or maybe you did in an open casket at a funeral after they were embalmed. And then life moves on. But there's so much more to death than that. So we can even experience good things in our life by embracing the fact that we are going to die, not embracing it as is that it is a good thing. Death can be maybe a relief through sickness or old age, but that does never mean that death is a good
Well,
thing.
listen, the reality of it is two certainties. We're going to be born and we're going to die. What we do in between is part of it, part of our life story, but it just happens and it's a reality and it's something that we do not like to face. You and I have had lots of conversations about this, but it is a reality and it's something that you have to be able to prepare for. As simple as something like you said to me about your father that he updated his password list a few weeks before he passed away, and I never
Yeah.
thought about that, but that becomes important, because what happens if something happened to me and my wife and my kids couldn't get into the accounts and stuff like that, and that's a simple task, but that's one of the things that you've helped me with and to think about. Well, let's
You
talk
know,
about
in
how go ahead.
I was going to say, there are deaths do occur without warning. My father's death was one of those, heart attack,
Yeah.
and relatively healthy person. You think, heart attack. He didn't update his list because he knew he was going to have a heart attack. He was just an organized man, and he did. But it made my work helping my mother immediately, because so many things happen when someone dies that need to be taken care of, and it just helped my work be a lot easier in with my own grief, but helping my mother move through the grief, that we didn't have to look for certain things that are such as simple as a password that can lock you out of a certain thing. So it is all these mundane tasks make a big
Yeah.
difference if you have them
Yeah.
planned out.
That's right.
Hmm.
So when we first met, you had a thought process, right? And I said it earlier. You're like, I know what I want to do, but I'm not sure what I want to do, or you weren't quite thinking to the extreme that we've gone to. And it's not an extreme, it's actually a reality because it was a little bit thinking out of the box. You wanted to help death doulas become certified Christian faith-based death doulas. So talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that and then how we just started evolving it.
Okay. Well, it's really a niche that, until I started training was completely unfilled. Anybody who, does take interest in my program, they specifically are looking for a Christian program. There's a lot of different training programs out there. I've seen a lot of them spring up just in the past few years, as has mine. I've been, I pretty much launched mine last summer, but they all are exclusive of Christianity. And that is completely obvious the minute that you start doing searches on what it takes to become a death doula. So I really fill that niche and I'm filling it well. I don't think that, I'm leaving room for someone to come in and do another kind of program because this program is competitive with the other doula training programs on the practitioner side, but it's deeply grounded in theology, a theology of the cross. And so it deals with death from a Christian perspective. And that's as important as understanding the process of dying. If we can understand the process of dying, that's always going to be helpful. But what about the grief that's taking place for the dying person, for the community members and the loved ones? If we can't fill in there with comfort and hope in a God who has resurrected Jesus from the dead, then we don't. I mean, we can be a presence, we can be organized, but being a Christian allows us to bring so much more to that moment, and the moments leading up to it, and the time afterwards. When someone dies, that person is no longer here, and it is devastating. It can cause a lot of upheaval in someone's life. So we are able to navigate through that season with them, with the hope of the gospel as well. And we can forget that when a loved one dies, our faith might be shaken.
Sure.
So doulas are a great
Yeah.
resource. Yeah.
So you wanted to create two modules. You wanted to create a module about that
Yeah.
had theology based on helping your doulas understand that and how to work with their members, their family members, and then you had to talk business. You had to kind of give them the
Yes.
other side of it. So, and that was your goals to begin with.
Yeah.
When we first met,
Yeah.
you wanted to create
Two
these.
two modules.
Yeah,
Theology and the practitioner module. Module is both modules are are widely adaptable to what the other doula training programs provide. So if legacy projects are a big part of why people hire a doula, we'll look at the legacy project through our creed of Christianity.
yeah.
And so module one focuses on that. Module two focuses on the practice, helping people find a good lawyer. What does the death vigil look like? What's a funeral? How do we work with churches and families and funeral directors? All of that. And business planning. What's a sole proprietorship? What is an LLC? How do you get one started? And how can you use Convene to expand your business?
Now, how do you do this? Explain how you do this because you have a set schedule, and this becomes important. And your members go in and they know what they're responsible for. So they go and they take their experiences within the module and they're able to go back and read everybody else's answers. And these answers are amazing. They're great. They're
They're
in
great.
depth
Yeah.
because your doulas that are participating want to be there. They want to be a part of it. And so they know that that collaborative learning is important, as we've talked about this morning, but you've put together a process, and this process drives the show. And again, one thing that is, again, you have these meetings and then Convene is the resource that helps you drive the show. And she froze. There you go. You're back. You froze. Did you hear me?
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, oh, yes. Well, I do want to say that the schedule is to aid doulas in having a goal to get the completed, but also to dive deeper with me, with other collaborating doulas. There will be times when some of the professionals who have contributed to the course will come in and be a part of the class. Matt, you've been there in some of my
Mhm.
classes, and but you can attain certification by going through the program at your own pace, not attending the live classes. It's an added benefit of using the platform. And I record the classes. They can be watched at any time, but typically every week I have a good turnout, and it makes the collaboration so much better. And the doulas have gotten to know each other a little bit. And if they, see another doula in their state, I know they're communicating offline, and all that's really great.
Yeah, and so that's cool. So now they have the expectations, they have a schedule laid out, they know what they're responsible for, they're going through the classes, they're able to read what other doulas are writing, not just what you're saying. So they're sharing. One of the cool things that is a really big part of your program that I want you to kind of touch on real quick is talk about how you have them build their own experience to introduce them and their
Yeah.
story.
Well, Convene is a experiential learning platform, and the what Convene has set up for us to build experiences. We can share with other people what we've learned through our life, and this is really important with conversations around end of life,
Hmm.
and especially through Christian stories. But practicum in module one is they tell their story, and they do so inside of an experience that they create. And they can use images, they can use videos, they can use text.
Hmm.
And it's a way for them to think about their story as they prepare to listen to the stories of others, the clients that they'll be working with,
Yeah,
and get to know by one another's stories. One of the doulas in my program, which more than one, but they are bereaved mothers, and
yeah,
their story is very impactful. Yeah, what they've learned through
yeah,
that.
yeah. So now let's get into the what we really want to talk
Yeah,
about inside of this is we want to talk about your growth strategy. So we went past these modules, and now we want to talk about massive growth. We want to talk about growth and inside of this, and um, how now we've turned what you've created into a true franchise model. So we have Bonnie here, for example, that's watching, and so we're gonna put this slide up there that Doc's sharing, and you can kind of talk through this about how you're.
yeah.
And this is a strategy. Again, we were just sharing strategies before you came on, but now this is the strategy that you're really leveraging and growing. But Convene gives you the ability to do that.
Yeah, I want to say Mel's here too. So Bonnie's in Ohio, and Mel is in my program. And so we'll keep those states in mind, as well as Virginia and Matt in North Carolina, if you ever become a doula certified under the Death and Resurrection Doula training program, or you bring someone in to me from North Carolina
Right.
that you know. Anyway, so well, I'm a personal community. I'm listed up at the top of this graph, and or this image, and you start there, and you don't have to only want to train to come be a part of my community. So I want to have pastors as a part of my community, and I already do have some, but inviting church leaders in, inviting people in who know they need to work with a doula. And it's never too early to start working with a doula, because at 46 years of age, I need to have a comprehensive end of life plan. When
Mhm.
when events change in my life, I need to update it,
Yeah.
right? So a doula is a great resource for a healthy person who wants to continue to have healthy conversations with people in their family, and just to have a healthy mindset around the fact that we will die one
Yeah.
day. But it's also a place for this training program. And even since beginning the teaching in June last year, I have already started to grow my vision beyond that. And so, to start out, you are going to, if you want to train, you're going to enter into the training group, and you got to take modules 1 and 2. That gives you a complete certification. And you need to join your state, because states are where the work happens. That's where we collaborate with other doulas in our state. We get to know them. We support each other and in growing this death and resurrection doula vision inside of our states, and incorporating Christian communities, so that doulas are met with people who need the service, and those who need the service are met with doulas in their area. Also, once you're certified, not required, but recommended to join the Collaborative and Continuing Education Association. That is it is going to be a competitor to the National End of Life Doula Alliance, which is a group that takes doulas certified from other programs, pulls them together, gives them a place to um, to to collaborate and support one another. What I'm doing is different on many levels, but to me, one of the most important levels is I'm doing it with a Christian worldview, something that's not present in NEDA, even when I asked if they would incorporate faith-based presenters into
Yeah.
what's
So you froze
done.
again. So you're there, you froze again.
We can
Well, that's here while you're frozen, I'll start talking. Are you back? So talk a little bit
I'm
about,
back.
because we only got a couple more minutes
Okay.
in this. And so talk a little bit about building it down the states. And so you're building, it's not just that you're building doulas, but you're building a directory for people to come in and find a death doula. And so now the key thing in this whole concept here, the franchise type concept, is you have, like you said, you have Melissa watching, you have Bonnie watching. Now they're going to be able to run their states, and they're going to be able to grow their states or their different areas. But then, like you see down there in the middle, you have the Laurel Marr group. That's your personal business, and that's where you work with your individual clients or customers. For example, me, in that you're making things happen in there. And so Laurel kind of popped off there, but I'll kind of continue talking. But that's the idea behind it. The idea behind it is that, she's growing states, and this is where you take the vision from just being an individual collaboration and training program to actual having certified death doulas, and then having her death doula continuing education and collaboration, where her death doulas across the board are sitting there working together. And then they go down, and the individual death doulas create their groups in whatever states that they are running it in. And now they're able to grow together and collaborate together as they're growing a customer base. So it's really an amazing model. And I'll tell you, Doc, like working with Laurel, she really, me and her working together, this really helped us expand the vision. And she set the model for Discover You, for Legacy Minded Men, for a lot of ways that many people are doing their communities now and all that.
She's looks like she's trying to come back in, but she's having difficulties on her end.
Yeah. So it was great. If you don't know Laurel, go get to know her inside of the communities. What she's building is so special. It's absolutely an amazing organization. She's growing really big, but she does calls on Tuesday nights. You can come into the Convene Communities. You can join the Death and Resurrection Doula community. Please do. If you know somebody who might need the services, unfortunately, we all will need it at some point. But also, the point is that she's building just an amazing organization of people who are servant leaders and are servant bound to really help others. And again, plays right into the mission of Convene Communities, a platform with a purpose. Her community has a purpose to serve others, and it's absolutely amazing. All right, strategy. It's everything, Doc. You and I went through it for the Podcast Central community. You're growing out an amazing community, and you got to come up with a strategy. Then you can build.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take 15 minutes, and we'll be back.
All right, let's do it.